Okay, so how many people have been to a boring refresher before? Raise your hands.
No, I never have.
Well, hopefully you don't feel that way at the end of this one. So we have an hour of material to go through, that's the state material, then we have a video that BOCES prepared for the entire county for us to watch. So, what is Drive on Guard and who am I? Like Karen said, I'm Nate Spence. I've been doing student transportation for 13 years. Yeah, 13 years. I started when I was like 25. So I love doing what I'm doing. I never thought I'd be doing this, but I kind of figured, hey, I've always liked school buses. I've always, in the front seat.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I was the bus driver's best friend. They were my psychologists, so that's why I like school bus drivers so much. So, anybody here a progressive snapshot?
Yes.
It's a thing you put in your car, and it tries to make you drive better. Boy, does it really drive you nuts when you're trying to save money. Because nobody behind you realizes why you're slowing down like a granny to red lights. So I really care about traffic safety. I think that we're so lucky to live in a day and age where we can hop in the car, turn a key, and go anywhere we want in just a few hours. 100 years ago, there's a very good chance our ancestors were going places still on horse and buggies in 1919. So try to remember what this setting was like 100 years ago. We all need to learn how to slow down and remember to respect all of the technological advances that we have. So I started Drive on Guard out of frustration when I was working at Quality Bus. Because I said, how can I make people drive better? And realize that I'm driving the way that you're supposed to drive. So I started Drive on Guard. It was only supposed to be a hobby. So then, Quality Bus said, oh, we're going to sell to a big mega national corporation. And I said, okay, see you later. So now I work with Kira's Joel. I have a contract with them. I follow their buses. I make sure that they're doing the right thing. And despite what you all might see or think, when you start working with that group of people, you start to understand that. And diversity is so important. So we have a contract in Long Island and a contract in Kira's Joel, and we follow their drivers and just try to get those people to drive better. Exactly. Yeah. So I love doing safety. I also do defensive driving classes. So if you need the 10% insurance reduction course, see me after class. I have flyers, and there's one in a few weeks on Saturday. Okay, so I know that I don't know everything. I'm only 36 years old. Been doing this a little less than 13 years, so I know that I don't know everything. But I try to portray the information that the state gives us in a way that I feel is going to make us want to learn, not just have to learn. So our motto at Drive on Guard is to inform without bore, because if you're not having an enjoyable time, you're not learning. And just if you're in the back row, watch the camera.
Oh God, I can't see it.
If we are recording it for the people that weren't able to be here today. So like Karen said, we've worked together for a while, and I found a clip, and hopefully it will play right. If not, we're not going to watch the whole thing, but you'll kind of get the general idea of our old refreshers at Quality.
Like sands through the hourglass, so are the jobs of our lives. This is Nate Spence, and these are the jobs of our lives.
What piece of junk are you going to give me today?
I'm going to give you $7.73 if you have a shirt to wear over that.
Yeah, I got one.
Where is it?
It's in my car.
Okay.
Maybe
Something wrong?
I think I'm just going to go to the mechanics and just make sure that this is actually good enough for me to take.
Why wouldn't it be good enough for you to take?
Well, you know, there's always issues with these buses.
Oh, well, as far as I know, it should be fine.
All right, have a good day.
Thank you. Excuse me, Karen.
Yes,
Do you have other shoes to wear?
I do.
And they are...
In my car.
Okay. The next time, please have them on your feet when you come in.
Okay.
Boy, it's awfully dumpy out this way. I thought Minnesink was supposed to be a nice area.
I don't know. It looks like a bunch of swamps and woods
I don't
to
know.
me.
It's, I mean, look at all the dirt on the side of the road.
Yeah, they
Nasty.
talk it all up just like everywhere else. They talk it all up. It's a ritzy place. You come here, forget it. You're down in the dumps.
Did you hear about Kathy?
What about?
I heard from Susan that Kathy and Nate went on a dinner date the other night.
Really?
Yup.
Huh. Wouldn't I like to be a fly on that table?
You know, she's old enough to be his mother.
Takes all kinds, I guess.
And from what I hear, she might be pregnant.
Wouldn't that just be too funny?
Can you imagine a little Nate running around? Oh, what a mess.
That would be funny. Oh my gosh. Unbelievable, I tell you.
Oh, Karen, you just passed the stop.
There wasn't anybody out there.
All right. Oh, Karen, she's running.
Her mother had to take her. We'll just
Well,
tell
we
her
were there. We were late.
We
are
there.
late. We're 10 minutes late. And it's a perfect time for that kid to learn accountability, if you ask me.
Right, she needs to be out there waiting for us.
Back in my day, if you weren't out at the time you were supposed to be out, then they'd leave you there and you'd have to walk to school. And when you walk to school, they let you use your flip-flops.
Well, that's good because I use them all the time. I know they tell you that you have to have other shoes, but I tell them I have them in my car. I don't bring them out of my car. I just tell them I have them in my car.
Oh. Yeah, you know, I don't stop at that stop sign either when I'm out this way. I mean, it should be a yield sign.
Yeah, why bother? There's nobody coming.
There's no one coming. And I mean, jeez, and Nate, oh, make sure you full stop. Make sure you do 5 in the park. Get a life, you little brat. Ay, ay, ay. It's like no matter what you do, he's always telling you that it's not right. Or you gotta go slow. And what about the speed limits? You know, the other driver I was with, they got in trouble because they were doing 65 on the Palisades.
You gotta keep up with traffic.
I know, and that's what I tried telling her. I'm like, he doesn't understand because he hasn't ever driven a bus.
Yeah, I don't think he has.
No,
He says that
definitely
he
not.
has, but I
He's
don't
too
think
young.
so.
He's
Yeah.
too young to drive a bus. And Nate says, oh, you just gotta have patience. Come on, it's 2015. What kind of patience can you have? We got the go thing going on. Go, go, go. You gotta go faster. And that jerk wants you to go slower. I don't get it.
And then you get stuck behind somebody that sits there for 10 minutes. I could have pulled 3 buses out and they just sit there.
I know, and you honk at them, and they just don't move. They don't care.
No.
They don't care. They just don't care. It's awful.
If you want to watch the whole video, you can check out our YouTube page at youtube.com/driveonguard. So we're going to talk about backwards bicycles. We're going to talk about bus stop safety, and we're going to do the Goshen School District required training which I promise you is a fun and stimulating 51-minute video about human resources and first aid. You're gonna love it. Please remember, I'm not making you watch it. Okay, so, it's like remembering how to ride a bike. It's pretty easy, right? A lot of people may not have done it in years, but if you hopped on a bike and you know how to do it, could you do it again? Yeah. You might be a little weeble-wobbly, but you'll get it. Do you think you could ride a bicycle if you turn the handles this way and the wheel went this way, and you turn the handle this way and the wheels went this way? Do you think you could teach your brain to do that relatively easy, knowing that it's in reverse? Okay. So I like to teach people about their brains because there's reasons why we do things. There's reasons why we've been doing school bus driving for 20, 30 years, and we get complacent. So our brains start to do funny things to us, and they get used to us doing things. So, I'm guessing. So that was the channel on YouTube, Smarter Every Day. Anybody ever watch it? That's Destin. He's really cool. He tries to teach people about technical things in a very easy to understand way. So why did we show you the video about backwards bicycle and forming a bias?
It's the habits, because of what you do automatically, and it's just like you're on automatic pilot in many ways once you learn something.
Bingo. I know it's early, but you're my favorite person in the refresher so far. Somebody can change that. If you give me the right answer, and we have prizes. We really went, you know, way out for you when we have prizes to give away. So. I know when I first started this, I started driving in Minnesink, which was the school that I graduated from. I went from making a lot of money at 20, 21 years old to getting laid off when the economy hit the recession in 2006, 2007. And that's when I started driving a bus. And I saw all these people that I graduated with come back to the school. Some were teachers, one was even an administrator. And I started to say, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? But that's not a very good attitude to have, because when you have that attitude, it's backwards bicycle thinking. Every single person on this planet has to do a job somehow, some way. Remember that show Dirty Jobs with Mike Rowe? He tried to show people, you know, there's folks out there that have to do the down and dirty thing. And sometimes, can being a school bus driver be a dirty job? Yeah. Especially because we have all these kids that were in school for 180 days that had a summer vacation, and now they've reformed a bias and they forget about some of the things that they were supposed to do in school. So please remember, we are all educators. Bus drivers, bus monitors, school aides, school attendants, it doesn't matter who works at the school, we're all educators. Anybody that is around a child is an educator, because we are the role models for the future. If you show a kid your angry side when they do something that you don't like, what's that going to form that child as an adult?
To do the same.
Are they going to see that anger is the way that people deal with things when they get older? Is that the way the world's starting to go? If you don't agree with me, screw off. I'm going to tell you off on Facebook, but I won't tell you off to your face, because that's too emotional. So that's my reminder to you all to please think outside yourselves. This is a very important job. We're all educators. My middle school bus driver was like my psychologist. You have no idea what a child is going home to at the end of the day. There's a reason why they like you so much. And yeah, those kids can be a real pain in the dupa sometimes, but everybody can. We all have the capability to be a pain in the dupa. Call out to my Polish folks in the room. Okay, so we're going really good. We're where we need to be. We're going to start talking about bus stop safety. So we're going to do A, B, C, and D. I'm going to do A and D. Christine's going to do B and C. We're going to kind of work together and make it as fun and learning as we can. All right, so why is the topic so important? You don't need that to tell you why. Compared to 10 years ago, how much more are people distracted on the roads? Compared to 10 years ago, how worse is road rage on the streets? I have stuff all over my car that says I do safety, safe driving, drive safely, drive consciously, and I still have people tailgate me when I'm doing the speed limits in places. I don't want to get a ticket anymore. If you drive the way like the cops behind you all the time, you don't have to worry. And that's retraining your brain to that bias. I used to speed. Man, I'm so lucky I started training bus drivers because that really slowed me down and it made me respect vehicles in general. So, we get very complacent during the most important thing that we do in our jobs. I know most of the people that I follow just at the 2 school districts that we have contracts for are not doing proper mirror scans. You have to do it every stop, every time, because we're so distracted, not only with our lives, but some of us use our phones for clocks. Please try to get out of that habit. Because if somebody sees you go like this with your phone, do they know that you're looking at the time? And what if you look at that phone and see a message from your husband who you know you're waiting for something? What's going to be in your brain? That text message and not loading and unloading. So please don't use your phone for time. If you need a time check, call it in. Okay. So we'll be able to list 3 things a driver, attendant, and monitor are responsible for. You'll know what age group and where the children are the greatest risk. You'll be able to identify 3 onboard distractions for drivers at the bus stop and while you're driving. I expanded it a little bit because these are things that we do all the time, even when we're out on the roads and we're empty. Sometimes we think if we're empty, we can drive different than if we have kids on. Recognize hazards at the stop. Okay. So let's talk about the fatalities that happened between 2016 and 2017. We had one in New York. Does anybody know where it was? Yes, and unfortunately that's why I was able to get a contract down there. And sometimes it's just lack of training. And working for a contractor for 8 years and working for a school district, please respect your job with the school district. The last thing you want to do is upset the Board of Education. And it only takes one person dragging a child, one person accidentally running somebody over, for a school district to say, we don't want that liability anymore. We don't want to deal with these people. Let's get Quality Bus in here, or STA, or First Student. It is so important to respect your job with the school district because it is so much safer here than it is as a contractor. So, we have a few other states. We have Massachusetts, Mississippi, Pennsylvania, Minnesota, North Carolina, and Virginia. 2 in Virginia, 1 in North Carolina, and 1 in Minnesota were when they were crossing, which, has anybody heard of the extended school bus stop arc?
Yes.
Okay, who's heard of it?
I did. You
Okay.
invented it.
What is it?
You invented it.
I didn't invent it.
I thought you did.
I didn't. I can't take that
You
credit.
stop the bus, instead of the stop sign just coming out, it's a big arm. With
Yes.
a stop sign on it.
And you're going to see it later, and I hope you like it. So let's talk really quick about the camera legislation that just passed. So this is a video about distracted driving. Can anybody guess why the bus driver got into an accident? It was their fault. Take a guess.
What we doing?
Emergency vehicle.
All right, let's go to the videotape.
Oh, they're on the right?
You'll be surprised at something some of you may be doing.
There's an ambulance.
Can you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell me what happened this morning?
Yes, I'm Officer Kennel, assigned to the California Highway Patrol in the Modesto area. This morning, there was a school bus with no children on board traveling eastbound on Clarabelle Road. Another vehicle, a Honda Odyssey, was traveling southbound on Coffee. The driver of the school bus was distracted while eating and failed to come to a stop. The Honda Odyssey struck the front of the school bus and careened off the road and came to rest. Both passengers, or both drivers rather, suffered minor injuries, mostly just pain, and were transported to Memorial Hospital.
All right, so at this point, he mentioned that the driver of the bus is distracted. Can that lead to any kind of criminal thing or any citations?
No criminal prosecution filed or charges will be filed. She was distracted, and like I said, she was eating something, is what she said, and she just wasn't paying attention to the street signs.
All right, well,
Even little things can be big distractions when you drive. Even little things can be big distractions when you drive. And here's an insight to divided attention. Do you think you can fully concentrate while doing several things at once, like trying to build something and do a presentation? No, sometimes we think we can, but think again. Neuroscience research reveals the brain. Wow. Neuroscience research reveals the brain does not focus on tasks simultaneously as we thought. And sometimes when we want to get things out quicker than we should, our mouth doesn't work as quickly as our brain wants us to. Okay, thank you. When we're looking at multiple things, we're not giving the thing we need to give the proper attention. Okay. Yep, we miss things, we make more mistakes. You guys came too early, so I couldn't get everything ready. So I forgot that I was supposed to jump in at this point. Okay, next slide, please. Oh my gosh, we're gonna do something fun. We need 2 volunteers, and if I don't get 2, I'm gonna pick 2. So let's get 2 really quick, so that way we don't take a lot of time picking the volunteer. All right, we got 1. Going to the bathroom. Okay. Oh man. You have a disadvantage because I know you, Brenda. Oh. Why don't you come up here?
Do it, Brenda.
It's only taking toys. You can do it. You can
come on up.
Come on,
All right, who else wants to come up? We need 1 more volunteer. Oh man, okay. Oh man, we need a man.
Yeah.
I have a guy right here. Oh, look at that. Okay, so you're going to sit here. Okay. We're going to give the guy the hard part. Take your chair, and you're going to sit over here. All right. Now, you get a 2-way radio. All right? So there's your 2-way radio. Now, each of you get a set of tinker toys. And this isn't going to work when you're sitting there. I just figured that out. So I need you to come back over here. All right. I just wanted to keep you away from the computer so we don't mess with the wire. So if you mess with the wire, you instantly fail. Okay? The winner gets a prize. It may be a cup. All right, so you get a set of tinker toys too. No. Here, I'll put that back for you. You can have the nice cushy chair. So, What we're going to do is have a contest. And we're going to have one person. Why isn't that going on? Did you break it? We're going to have one person on the two-way radio trying to put together that set of Tinker Toys. We're going to have the other person, not on the two-way radio, put together the same set of Tinker Toys. Who do you think's going to finish first? Go on! All right, so when I say go, you're going to open the Tinker Toy container and you must build it exactly as it is there to get correct credit. Okay, hold on. 3, 2, 1, go. What's your name? Can you tell me your name, please? You have to answer the radio. Orman, you cut yourself off. What was it?
Call me Orman, that's all.
You keep cutting yourself off. You have to hold the radio down for 1 second before you talk into it.
I am sorry, but I've been instructed never to talk on the telephone.
This is against your training because we're violating rules that are put in place that are supposed to keep us safe. So, has that school bus come in? Are you figuring out all the parts?
We're getting there.
Norman, can you tell me your favorite color, please?
Red. It is red.
I didn't get that. Can you do that again? You have to press and hold the button 1 second before I hear anything, because I can't hear anything if you don't press the button.
Okay, now my color is green.
I can't seem to hear you on the radio anymore. Norman, are you there, Norman? I need an answer to this question. What's your favorite color?
My favorite color is red.
Your favorite color is red? What color is your car? Do you have a red car?
I own 3 red cars.
What do you think? You're better than me?
I don't know, do you have a better paycheck than me?
I painted my car school bus yellow.
I painted mine.
Are you done? Oh man, it took Brenda 2 minutes, and look, you're not even halfway done. You get a Drive on Guard mug, and because you want to be the sportiest person in your town, you get a bumper sticker that says, it's a speed limit, not a speed target.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. And you get the second prize for doing that. All right, so how many people have heard something on the two-way radio and they instantly think to themselves, what I do now? Yup. It's Carol again. Carol has to tell us our whole life story about this situation that she doesn't have to tell us about.
And I want to tell you, I'm not going to deal with this anymore. That mother needs to be out, and I'm going to talk to her on the phone when I get back there. And we're going to have a serious conversation about it, and everybody's going to know about it, because I don't want everybody to know.
Okay, so what was the point of that exercise? Could you really do that with me talking to you and trying to use that two-way radio? Okay. So
I gave Norm the cut. I got many.
I didn't even use the cell phone because I said let's make it more bus relatable, which is why we did the two-way radios. Okay, now it's back to you.
Hey Mac, you forgot your phone.
Nobody wants to see a child get hit by a passing motorist in the open roadway danger zone. We knew that school buses needed something more than stop arm cameras. The safety champions in the concepts and engineering departments at Bus Safety Solutions created the extended stop arm. Their dedicated staff has worked since 2014 to drastically reduce passing motorist violations throughout North America. Passing motorists have plagued railways since the 1950s. These violations at railway crossings were drastically reduced when introducing a barrier between the roadway and the railway as trains pass. The extended stop arm works as a proactive barrier like the safety arms at railway crossings. This prevents motorists from entering the open roadway danger zone. Bus Safety Solutions has thought of every option for any bus in your fleet. We know the extended stop arm will make a difference reducing passing motorists at your location.
All right, so
I like that.
We sell the extended stop arm in the Northeast. We're the only people that sell it up here. I've worked very, very hard for a year and a half to try to get the product saleable in New York because DOT is very difficult. It does have an on-off version, so it has a nice switch, so you can turn it off if you're in the bus yard, if you're parked next to another bus doing loading or unloading. If you want to talk about the extended stop arm, see me at the end. Just a really quick show of hands. How many people would like to have one of those on their buses?
I want one on my car.
All right, cool. Talk to me when we're done because we're a little bit over, and I don't want to take too much time from Christine.
Okay, loading procedures. NYSED. Does anybody know the acronym for the NYSED? Education Department. New York loves acronyms like that. So we're going to go over the recommended loading procedures, driver attending to monitor duties, teaching safe loading, and crossing procedures, and teaching parents at the bus stop. Okay, New York State recommended loading procedures. All students should arrive at least 5 minutes early to the bus stop. You need to communicate this to your children. Some children are not being told by their parents, so they don't know exactly what time they would be there, but they need to be there 5 minutes early. If there's a parent there, then it's good. You can tell their parent, this is the time we're going to be there, and they need to be 5 minutes before that time. It's just to get everybody loaded as quickly as possible because there's going to be some locations that, you know, it's a busy intersection or it's a busy street, and you can't sit there waiting for Johnny who's running down the street. Students should wait at least 15 feet from the road. Again, this is our expected length. I mean, it looks a little longer than it is, but 15 feet is longer than what the buses are stopping at. When students see the bus, they should form a single line. You got to teach your students to do this. They just don't automatically do it. What they want to do is just run to the bus once they see it rolling up, and that's not safe. Wait for the bus to come to a complete stop. I know I have, with subbing for my other district, a lot of kids just don't do that. If I see a student moving towards the bus when I'm still moving, I'm stopping the bus. And I'm putting this out. And I'm even beeping too if they don't listen. Because they can't be running to the bus. That's unsafe for them. If something happens, they roll, they fall, something happens. Load in an orderly manner. And students should fill in the middle seats first unless they have an assigned seat. I think with this district, there's middle school sit in the front and high school in the back. I know my other district did it that way. Okay, driver, attendant, monitor responsibilities for teachers. Danger zones. You need to teach your students the danger zones. We can't see them in certain areas, and they need to know that's the reason why we have them 15 feet away from the bus. That's a nice diagonal. I see you, you see me. That's the way we need to teach them. Students must look before passing motorists before they approach the bus. If they're crossing the street, we need to tell them, even though you look at me, you still need to look both ways and make sure it's not a car coming, okay? Or they pop up. Then teach them about the lights on the bus and how, you know, yellows mean slow down, red stop, and you only cross when directed to. Explain dangers of parked cars, snowbanks, and hedges. Okay? You don't want to be hiding behind something where cars can't see you. You want to communicate that it's safe for you to be in a certain area designated for you to be at that stop. Teaching students safe loading. Never chase after the bus. You always got those late students. You know, if you're going to be late and you have to chase the bus, that means you're going to miss the bus. Okay? Because we can't be stopping 15 feet further down from our bus stop to pick up Johnny, who's late for the bus. You can do that, you can call it in and see. Yeah. You can call that in and see what they want to do. Stay away from the road and intersections. Tell them that they need that distance to be safe. They don't want to be standing right on the road because the cars may not be able to see them. They have to stand 15 feet away. Behave while waiting for the bus. Always look both ways. Keep belongings in the backpack. I have a big pet peeve about backpacks, especially with my elementary school kids. I want nothing in their hands because they are dropping things all the time. So if they take their jacket off, it's too hot, jacket goes in their bag. Nothing goes in their hands. They go down to the steps, they hold on to the railings, and they have a free path without any hazards to get to their location. The worst thing is they drop something, and the first thing they want to do is go pick it up. I had somebody with a water bottle, dropped it, rolled under the bus, and they're looking to go onto the bus to get it. I was freaking out. I go, no, you don't do that. That is very unsafe. So things like that comes about. You want to speak with the parent too, speak with the child, and if things don't improve, you always call Karen and see what Karen can do. Do not damage private property, and if someone or something makes them feel unsafe, they need to tell us. You need to have that rapport with this child, with this student, to say, okay, if you don't feel right about something, you need to tell me so I can help you, okay? It's all about communication.
This is a video of the first day of school in Texas. Kindergartners coming home. This happened just a few days ago.
Layla. No,
Yeah, right to the ridge. Now, she was excited because she saw Mom and it was the first day of school. 2 more seconds, and that could have been different. So, little kids, you have to reinforce the crossing rules consistently. And what I found worked really well, I went to Mid-City for a little bit of time, and everyone said, you're going to have a real hard time with those kids because they're from, the bad middle school and all that. I asked my boss, I said, hey, can I buy ice pops for the first day of school? He's like, yeah, as long as you don't hand them out. I said, no, I'm going to do it responsibly. So they didn't get to pick their color or any of that nonsense. I got somebody to help me. That was like one of the last ones getting off. I said, listen, we can have a really fun year. All I care about is safety because I want to keep you all safe. So here's a great way to start off the first week of the year. Here's some ice pops. And they listened after that. It was amazing. So it cost me $10 to get 200 ice pops that I could use over a few weeks, and that's what I did every Friday. I said, if you guys can do consistent, good safety things, you'll get ice pops the first month of school while it's still hot. So sometimes it doesn't cost a lot. Do something fun, get a student helper, that kind of stuff.
Not allowed to do that, though.
Talk to your boss. If your boss says no, don't do it. I was allowed to do it. I was allowed to do it, so. Anyway. Okay.
Okay, universal crossing signal. Let's do a quick little refresher. What is the stop signal for person? The full hand, I know everybody knows this. What is the cross signal to cross your student? Not the wave. Okay? That. Okay, what's the universal danger signal?
Beat the horn.
The horn. Yeah, we need to follow these, and we need to teach the children, especially your kindergartners, because your kindergartners, like you saw that video, they get excited first day of school. I want to go tell my mom about everything, and they won't look. Okay? So you really need to be careful with that. School bus safe crossing. Another trivia question. What is the first thing you want to say to your students when they're leaving your bus?
Wait till I see.
Check before you step, exactly. You want to reinforce that you're supposed to actually be saying that to every student every day, so they get it in their head. Check before you step. And then you should have this on your school bus. No, they really should be on the school bus. If you don't have one, I'm sure if you ask Karen to have one, and then this way you can teach your kids. But they should be on the bus.
They just changed the design of it this year too, so.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, advising the parent, okay? Confirm the pickup time at the bus stop, which we already said, 5 minutes before. You want to encourage the parents to be there at that time. Encourage parents to have a child that stops at least 5 minutes beforehand. Remind parents to dress children appropriately for the weather. You know, it's going to be hot. It's going to be hot on the bus. You don't want them in a suit and tie, you know, sweating, and you're afraid that one of the kids is going to be passing out on the bus. Also at nighttime, especially for the high schoolers. I have a high schooler that always dressed in black, and I would pick him up at his house. That was his stop. No lights anywhere. And I couldn't see the kid at all until he was across the yellow line. So I told my student, put your cell phone light on. So at least I see a light flashing somewhere that I know you're there. And he did that. So you want to be cautious on, especially the pickup in the morning when it gets real dark, to tell your kids, you know, to wear something bright, you have something reflective, cell phone light on, so I can see you. A backpack can save a child's life. Remember, we don't want to drop things, especially for the kindergarten, the younger kids. You want them to have everything in their backpack. One thing I find is that the teachers are just sending them out with all this stuff in their arms, and then it's like they're coming on the bus just dropping things. It's so unsafe, so unsafe. Yeah, it's crazy. Supervision at the bus stop can prevent injuries and deter predators. So thank the parents that are there, because they are actually protecting that whole stop from any kind of predators.
Okay, section D. Oh boy.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to go through this one. How fast can you take your time? That's my favorite saying that I heard a few weeks ago. How fast can you take your time? Hazards at the bus stop. Siblings waiting with students at the stop. Parents, sisters, guardians, pets. Multiple school pickups at the same stop location. Sometimes you're right on that border. And you don't want to pick those kids up from Washingtonville if they're not your kids, because sometimes kids don't pay attention to where they're going until it's too late, and then they're like, oh my gosh, where's Sandy and Sally? I have no idea where I am. And then you're like, oh wow, okay. Now I'm embarrassed because I have to take you back to Goshen. And just a reminder, this is how quick it happens. All right, so we have to expect the unexpected. Stragglers that did not cross with the group, students running behind, students dropping items, parents or students screaming for the bus or for students on the bus, dangling clothes, loose shoes, and earbud cords. There's an actual test that the DOT does when they do an inspection on your bus.
Excuse me.
They take a washer on the end of a piece of twine, and they make sure that there's no catch points for anything to get caught on your stairwell. And this is a reminder that sometimes things don't happen on the bus. It's amazing. This is why we always have to pay attention, no matter what. This is from 2009 in Arizona. Isn't it crazy that we call that awful video now? That's awful video quality from 10 years ago. Grew up with 2 TVs, trying to get the right channel.
Oh, solid steel, and it hit pretty hard.
So, not that I'm blaming the school bus driver, because that's something that you just can't handle. You know, you don't know what what to do and you have a split second to do it, but if they caught that quicker because they were paying closer attention to what's coming, could that have been prevented? Possibly. We don't know. We can't say a definitive yes, but there's a big shoulder there. It could have been made a little bit less if it hit the side of the bus or something like that. Well, you have to try to think, what's the least amount of damage that I'm going to do to the people that I'm responsible for? All right. So driver communication.
He did slow down, but he did too.
Children, parents, and attendants, and monitors. You don't want the first time a passing motorist happens to have your kids not know what to happen. So here's the letter. I'm going to give it to Karen so she can give it to you all so you can kind of see what you can type to parents to try to help you. Yeah, I'm that crazy and that safety OCD. So, but think how parents felt when they saw a 22-year-old come up to their stop with this letter. So it was very important to me to always do the right thing, the safe thing, and think safety first.
No reds. Holy Lord.
And there's another example of a bus that was following that bus and got an incident on a stop arm camera. This is from New York. This is why the mirrors are so important. You have to scan your mirrors actively coming up to the stop, while you're at the stop, and before you leave. It is the most important thing that we can do to keep the students safe around their vehicle. You don't want the first time a kid hears the horn to be this.
Oh, thank God she did go back. Woo.
Now, how many times when you're crossing someone are you so intent on them in the road that you're not scanning that mirror before they get to that open roadway? You have to train your brain to check that open roadway before they get off the bus, before they get on the bus. Your head should be constantly moving around looking for hazards. That driver is an awesome driver for seeing that, because that could have been a fatality or a serious injury right there. All right, so continually and actively scan your mirrors. The driver should hold students until traffic stops in both directions. Please don't let the people roll. They'll get the idea if you don't cross the kids because they're rolling, they'll stop. Be alert for all vehicles, bicyclists, four-wheelers, dirt bikes, snowmobiles. I was on a route that was on 17M with a nice big shoulder, and I had a bicycle come down. But the kids were so well trained that they got down to the bottom step that they knew to look down the bus. It took weeks of telling the kids every single time when you get to the bottom step, you do not get off the bus until you check down the side of the bus. It takes weeks to train them this. Sometimes it takes us weeks to remember certain procedures, right? Empathize with the students. Don't give them a hard time.
I told you 5 times that you're supposed to stop down at the bottom stair and look.
What's that do to the kid right away? It turns them off. But that's what a lot of us do now, because we just have so many frustrations that we deal with during the day that we take it out on the people that we love the most. Emergency vehicles have to stop. Please be aware that they might not stop. Funeral processions, same thing. They're supposed to stop, but they may not stop. See how far away that student is? I can't believe that kid was trained to walk to the bus because the driver didn't tell them not to walk to the bus. What just happened to that kid? They got smushed. There are some people that this is your retirement job. You've already been through your normal job. So that you're basic police officers or correction officers or emergency responders. Please don't have that mentality that I've done this for years, I know what I'm doing, I don't need you to be safe. Because it happens in a split second and you have to be ready for it. Now, this is the most important thing. 90% of the drivers that I do observations on do not do this. They drop the kid off, the kid's 2 feet away from the steps, they close the door, the stop arm's not even down on the side of the bus yet, and they're pulling away, railing it to the next stop. Not cool. That's how we hurt people. You should always check your mirrors as follows, and look at them. Don't just do like this kind of thing and say you're done. You have to look at every single mirror to physically get your brain to see what's going on in that mirror. So you want to look at your left, regular driving, the West Coast, which is your blind spot mirror, your cross view mirror, your regular mirror, and your blind spot mirror. And as you're closing the door, your head should be down, looking at the door, checking it. While the door is closing, a lot of the buses now, the stop arms will not even start to fold in until the door is closed. That's a safety feature. It's not an aggravation. That's the bus telling you, you can check your mirrors while this door is closing. It's giving you 3 to 5 extra seconds to check around the bus. All right. Carefully scan for any movement. Mirrors create their own blind spots. You have to rock before you roll. Pre-trip includes adjusting mirrors properly. Please don't be the driver that gives someone a hard time because they took your bus and changed your seat in your mirrors. That's part of driving. And remember, even little things can be big distractions when you drive. Even little things can be big distractions when you drive. Always follow your school district policies. If you have any stop changes, you're doing courtesy stops, you should not be doing unauthorized stops. If you need to change the stop because of weather, these are all things you should be talking to your supervisor or your dispatcher with. All right, so you guys are so smart that we don't have to do the review questions. Isn't that amazing?
That's right.
All right. It's going to take me like 2 minutes to get this video figured out here, so please don't get up too much, but like you can stretch and move your arms and move your feet and